Luntha Television, bringing wisdom into your home.
Good morning and thanks for joining us for Monday's edition of Press Review right here on Luntha TV. As usual in this program, we take you through a few of the stories that are appearing in our newspapers. And today you'll be with me, Tandi Wimzmara, and my colleague,
Desire Banda.
Good morning, Desire.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm fine, thank you. So I will be taking you through the Daily Times, and Desire will be taking you through the Nation. You want to start?
Yeah.
All right.
Looking on the front page of the Nation newspaper, there is a story with the headline, Kamudoni fought leadership on a graft fight. Part of the story reads, Reverend Lawyer Kamudoni Nyasuru has faulted the Tonse Alliance for failing to provide the required leadership for the fight against corruption.
All right. On the front page of the Daily Times newspaper, a headline here reads ADMAC standoff, and some of the sub-headlines read staff unpaid for May, sources blame Chipiko suspension, management and board dismiss claims. And part of the story reads that members of staff at the state-owned Grain Trader Agricultural Development and Marketing Corporation, ADMAC, are yet to receive their salaries for May 2022. A source within ADMAC, who is close to the matter, told us in confidence over the weekend that they are struggling to change signatories to their bank accounts following the suspension of General Manager Rhino Chipiko last month. I don't know if you have been following, but then there's been a lot of drama that has been happening with ADMAC.
Yeah.
Starting especially ever since Chipiko was suspended. There's been so much happening. I hope that they're able to resolve that soon, because we do depend on ADMAC when it comes to agricultural development and marketing in the country, of course.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, on the same flat page of the Nation newspaper, State eyes 5 billion kwacha Chisari assets. That's the headline. Subheadings, Attorney General finalizes paperwork. Part of the story is it never rains but powers for former President Peter Mutharika's private bodyguard, Norman Chisari, as the state has moved to seize and dispose of 5 billion kwacha worth of his assets. Speaking on interview yesterday, Attorney General Tabung Jakaka Nyirenda said paperwork was at an advanced stage for the application, adding that the property ranges from houses, vehicles to cash in banks.
All right. Moving on to the third page of the Daily Times newspaper, headline here reads Nankuma laments high cost of living, and part of the story reads that Democratic Progressive Party DPP Vice President for the Southern Region, Gondwani Nankuma, says the cost of living has been on the higher side since the party was voted out of government. Nankuma has described the 25% devaluation of kwacha as an unwelcome development. He was speaking on Sunday during the launch of the free driving school in Zomba, an initiative by the city's central member of parliament, Besta Awali.
I think that is a good welcome development, as is there allowing people to undergo a driving school for free.
I think it really is. It really is. You would look at, I think mostly in Malawi, when you think of driving school, there are a lot of costs that come with it. So looking at something like this that is coming for free, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's move to business segments.
All right. I think you can.
I can start?
Yes.
Okay. Lulu people not aware of 2063 Malawi NPC. That's the headline. Part of the story is National Planning Commission, NPC, Director General Thomas Mutali says most rural-based people are not familiar with the aspirations of Malawi 2063, the country's long-term development plan.
That is sad. I mean, ever since it was launched, you would think that by now people are at least familiar with some of the plans that are in it.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's all about raising awareness on it and trying to make people understand, because it's a huge plan, Malawi 2063.
Yeah.
I mean, it's plans to do with from when it was launched to that year. So hopefully, for it to be implemented properly, it needs collaborative efforts. So if people are not aware of it, it makes it hard. How is it going to be implemented? Because it's the same people who are not aware of it who are actually supposed to also help in implementing it. So I hope that something is done to help in making people aware of it, so that it also helps in the implementation plans.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of business in the Daily Times, a headline here reads electricity woes, high tariffs bother industry. And part of the story reads that industry captains, through their umbrella body of the Malawi Confederation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry, has singled out insufficient energy supply and high tariff rates among key bottlenecks to doing business. The chamber has said businesses are failing to produce and operate to their optimal levels due to challenges that have rocked the economy for years. I mean, talking of electricity woes, over the weekend there was it was on Saturday evening where we had the whole nation was in blackout. Yes, I think as a country, we're already experiencing electricity problems as it is, and the fact that what happened on Sunday, as much as ESCOM has said it was due to vandalism, but it kind of also shows to say perhaps maybe the sites where they have these basic equipment that are used in as far as the electricity is concerned, maybe perhaps there isn't much security, because how do people even have bad access to such places? You know?
Castel Malawi changes Kuche Kuche Beer outlook. That's the headline. Part of the story reads, Castel Malawi has given Kuche Kuche Beer brand a modern new look in a move the company says is in response to consumer demand. Speaking on the sidelines of the launch, Castel Malawi Managing Director Harvey Muirhead said they will continue to grow the brand and make it one of the top beers in Malawi. I
mean, this event was one of the biggest events over the weekend.
Yeah.
And I think people had a lot of fun because people kept raving about it over. It was on Saturday, yes?
Yes.
It was on Saturday. Did you go?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure there are so many people who I know that went there. They seem to have had fun. And I've seen the look of the bottle too. And I think that those who prefer that, the Kuche Kuche beer, I'm sure they must be interested. And also I think looking at how recently there's been a lot of types of beers coming in, you know, and the fact that Kuche Kuche has been there for years. So I think changing it, the outlook, I hear it has also changed in the way it tastes apparently. I think that is going to make business good.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, still on business, the headline here is Sunbird embarks on recovery path. And part of the story reads that Malawi Stock Exchange listed Sunbird Hotels and Resorts has registered the first profit in the year ended December 31, 2021, after years of loss making due to the COVID pandemic. According to figures presented to shareholders during the 34th annual general meeting in Luntha on Friday, the company has posted a profit of 749 million kwacha in the year under review from a loss of 1.2 billion kwacha in 2020. I think we can move on.
International?
Yes.
Let's move to international news. NATO and UK warn of long Russia-Ukraine war. Part of the story is British Prime Minister Boris Johnson yesterday said the world will need to be ready to supply Ukraine with weapons after the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, warned of a protracted conflict in the country.
All right. Speaking of international news, I will be taking you through one. A headline here, it's French vote decides battle between Macron left Part of the story reads that in less than 2 months after being re-elected as president, French President Emmanuel Macron is already in a crunch election that could prevent him pushing through his reforms. French voters are going to the polls to decide who will control their National Assembly. Macron, who beat the far right in April, is facing a big challenge this time. I think we may move on to arts and culture. I think you can
Let's take one. On arts and culture, mixed outcomes at Kuche Kuche Ronge Show. Part of the stories, the highly billed Kuche Kuche product launch at Lilongwe Golf Club on Saturday ended with mixed outcomes of unstable power supply, and some artists' poor performance appeared to dampen the mood. Yeah.
I heard that people were throwing bottles
of Kuche Kuche
to Onesimus
Yeah.
whilst he was on stage. I mean, that was a bad move because people were there to have fun, as much as they were not in agreement to whatever he might have said. That people were trying to stone him with the bottles of beer for. But however, I feel like it kind of really dampened the mood because people were obviously there to just have fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of arts and culture, I will also be taking you through one. Headline here is Central High School gives art attention. And part of the story says Central High International School in Luntha has taken a new direction on art by giving it more attention and space. The school's head teacher, Nishant Mishra, has admitted during an art exhibition themed Recycle, Reduce, Reuse for a Better World at Jacaranda Cultural Center in Luntha on Saturday that their art department was in a mess in the past, but that they have grown the department. All right, moving on to the back page of our newspaper. A headline here reads, Queens to feast with First Lady Chagwera. And part of the story reads that First Lady Monica Chagwera is this morning expected to host Malawi national netball team to a breakfast at Kamuzu Palace in Lilongwe. This follows Queen's stellar performance in the just-ended Kosana Tri-Nation tournament, which saw the senior side winning the competition with Zimbabwe and Namibia ending on 2nd and 3rd respectively. I don't know about you, but I feel like the Queens really do try in their games.
Yeah.
They really do know how to show up, and they always pull through, and they always make us proud.
Yeah. For real, and with this move of what Madame Chakwera is doing is one of motivating them.
Of course, it does. I mean, it's actually going to motivate them to work even harder.
Yeah. Yeah. Moving on to the back page of the Nation newspaper, there's a story with the headline, Ministry approves Queens and the SA trip. A part of the story is Ministry of Youth and Sports has approved the Malawi Queens trip to South Africa for a series of friendly matches against England's Vitality Roses and host Spa Proteas. The Queens will use the matches to tune up for the 2022 Commonwealth Games slated for July in Birmingham, England.
All right, still on local sports, a headline here reads Pressure mounts on Silver, and part of the story reads Pressure is mounting on Silver strikers as their slow start to the season continues following a goalless stalemate with Moyale Barracks at Silver Stadium on Saturday. The Central Bankers have failed to win a match in 3 consecutive matches and have been unconvincing, having won only 4 matches, 5 draws, and lost thrice in 12 matches of the season.
Moving on to third page of the Nation newspaper, from the back page, Nyambadwe win Scottish cricket tourney. A part of the story is Nyambadwe edged defending champions Bangwe in a close way fourth final of the Scottish men's zonal T20 tournament at Indian Sports Club in Limbi on Saturday.
All right, I don't know if you have any more local sports before we move on to international sports.
I have one. South Darts Rig hots up. Part of the stories, Police CEC on Saturday climbed to the pinnacle of the Southern Region Darts Rig after beating Namingombe. T Estate allows 21 to 15 in Namingombe, Chiolo.
All right. Moving on to international sports, a headline here is FIFA study finds half of players abused online, and part of the story reads that world governing body FIFA has teamed up with Players Union FIFPro to try to identify people who target players with abusive social media posts. A report tracked 400,000 social media posts during the semi-finals and final of Euro 2020 and this year's Africa Cup of Nations. The study found that over 50% of players received some kind of abuse.
Ex-Bafana Bafana coach linked with Egypt to return. That's the headline. Part of the story is Carlos Queiroz could be reappointed coach of Egypt's Pharaohs just 2 months after his contract was terminated by the Egyptian Football Association.
All right, still on international sports, my last one, a headline here, it's Nketiah agrees new 5-year deal at Arsenal. And part of the story reads that Arsenal striker Eddie Nketiah has agreed a new 5-year contract with the Gunners. The 23-year-old, who was due to be out of contract at the end of the month, has made 92 first-team appearances and scored 23 goals since his first team debut in 2017.
Yeah, of course, here I have the same story.
Oh, you have the same story.
Yeah.
All right, well, that also brings us to the end of what we had for you in this edition of Press Review for today, Monday, the 20th of June in the year 2022. And as we said earlier on, that in this program, we only go through a few of the stories that are appearing in the newspapers and briefly. So if you do want to know more details to the stories we read and some of which we couldn't, do make sure to get yourself the newspapers. However, thank you so much for being there, and we urge that you do continue following the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. You've been with me, Tandy Wenzumara, and my colleague
Desire Banda.
Have a lovely Monday.